coming up on this week's episode of the HCA Tech Talk podcast.
Ironically, I said this at the launch when we did it, they're 10 years old as well.
Oh, really?
So the synergy between our two companies was quite good.
Yeah. I think for me, just touching on that briefly, like when we were talking about it earlier, for me, when we've done sort of smart homes, connected homes, you know, clients obviously got a lot of money going out on a lot of projects, a lot of stuff in there. You know, they've got to pay for the kitchen, and we all know the kitchen's not going to get kicked to one side, but we are.
Is it still brings people together, right? And when that's in someone's home, like you just said, it brings a family together. It gives them time away from the daily life and how busy everybody is and how hectic they are. And I think it's being a part of that, isn't it? Knowing that you're giving that back to families is actually really lovely.
You get a wedding dress designed, you get a kitchen designed, you know, a car is designed. Yeah. So, you know, I think it is very important that, you know, between a HCA member, CAVD distribution and the client, we all sit in a circle around a table and we go, right, what's the space? This is what suits it. You know, this are the maybe 3 or 4 options that you could have at different budgets. What are you happy with, Mr. Client?
Portable boombox.
Thinking of building your dream home cinema? Don't know where to start? Start with the HCA. At the Home Cinema Alliance, we connect homeowners with the very best in the business. Our members are trusted designers, installers, and technology experts who know how to turn any room into a breathtaking cinematic experience. Whether you're building from scratch or converting a spare room, our members are here to help you every step of the way. Visit our website to find your local member at homecinemaalliance.co.uk. So hi guys, thanks for having me over today. So we are with Jamie and Mal of CAVD Distribution, based in Marlow. We've had a HCA day here today with a few of the members to see the facilities you've got here. Tell us a little bit about the facilities. Obviously, it's open to the general public via a Home Cinema Alliance member, a CDM member, or someone in the industry who's one of your dealers. So tell us a little bit about the facility. Jamie, tell us a bit about CAVD, the history, how it was started.
Sure. So, yeah, it's a showroom here, first of all, based in Marlow. It's appointment only. And we don't deal directly with the end clients. So like you say, we deal with integrators, CDM members, HCA members, etc., that are specialized installers, but you can use this space as you want to bring your own clients to and showcase what we do and what we do as an industry, etc., as well. So yeah, that's one part of it. So started the business, this is our 11th year, so it'll be almost 11 years now. It's gone really quick.
Most days, a teenager.
Some days it's felt like a slower than
rebellious teenager. Well, it is a rebellious teenager because you've got Mel here, but we'll go on to that in a minute.
We'll come to that, sure, yeah, absolutely. But no, nearly 11 years. I've been in the industry getting on for 20 odd now, something like that. But I worked in AV for a long time. I started over more on the commercial side of things. And I kind of fell into the residential side by mistake, really, in the early days. I worked for Fujitsu, who made the flat screen panels, but specifically for the CI channel.
Okay.
And having come from a professional AV background to the more residential, I like the vibe, you know. We're dealing with a different client base. And I thought, yeah, I like this. And I've been in it ever since. And you find lots of people come to our industry from different areas, etc. But I think once they come to it, they generally kind of stay with it, and yeah, really enjoyed it. So it's been 11 years.
But you're not wrong with staying with it. I mean, similar. I started the business up in 2007, and it's just bordering on comical. Where you know you go into one warehouse in, I don't know, let's say Essex, and you go to a training course, and then a year later you go to another training course at somewhere in like Surrey, and the guy that was in Essex is now in Surrey. Right, yeah. And then he's all of a sudden in East Sussex with a distributor, and you do find that you know, well, we were speaking about our friend Hamish this morning,
yeah,
and about how, you know, and Phil, yeah, you know, how, you know, there's pictures of them in various roles, so you do sort of stay in the industry and you sort of do get to know everybody.
That's right. It's not a huge industry working. No. You know, we're a fairly small sector in that respect, you know, which has its pros and cons. You know, I kind of like it because you get to know everybody. And there's certainly some colourful characters in our industry that make it interesting at shows and stuff like that. So yeah, I'd say I've been with it for a long time, really enjoy it. As the business, particularly our business, started off with, you know, 2 or 3 brands. I'd been doing it before, but I was lucky enough to have some support from a brands early on that started and sort of backed me really to go and have a go at what we were doing. I say have a go, a bit more than that. We had some we had some clients and we had dealers lined up. I'd been with it for a long time. Lucky enough to have a sort of decent reputation with the integrators we work with, and a decent reputation enough that a couple of manufacturers say, yeah, we're gonna back you. So, and the business has grown from there. We don't like to chop. We're a distributor, so we represent sort of select brands.
Yeah.
So I don't like to chop and change. We like to be quite selective about who we distribute and what brands we work with. Because when you think about it as a distributor, we really are an extension of that manufacturer. We're their eyes and ears on the ground. We're effectively their sales team. So if we represent a brand from America or other country, they rely on us to give the market feedback and represent their brand in hopefully as professional way as they would as well. And we've got our own character and way we do things at CAVD. I'm very proud of where we are and what we do. We're still growing, which is great. And it seems that manufacturers we work with stick with us for a long time, and we kind of an extension to their business, which is important. I'll just say in that sense as well, doing what we do, and we're quite specific in terms of the AV products we sell. So we're very, very much concentrated on cinema, media rooms, extended multi-room. So we don't try and do spread ourselves too thin in terms of number of products, etc. And I mentioned the term being an extension of their business. We are an extension of some of the integrators' business as well, because if I take a typical integrator and they're doing a project, that project can consist of so many different variables in terms of lighting, control systems, heating, security, networks. There's so much that as an integrator you need to know, almost like I don't know, the jack of all trades, master of none, but that's probably derogatory because people know so much. But that being said, because you've got such a broad knowledge, and there's some integrators out there with some fantastic knowledge, but they still say to us, look, you do this cinemas every day with these products. Can I just run this by you? It's almost like just a sanity check to say, look, how would you do this cinema? What would you guys do? Because we do that sort of thing every day. So in a sense, we do become an extension of their business in that sense, as well as we do with the manufacturers.
I think you're right in respects of what we're trying to sort of communicate at the HCA is, not only that we have a base of members that can help the Joe Public, the end user, design, and install media rooms and cinema rooms, but actually to the end client, there's a lot of brands out there that they don't necessarily know that might fit their project better. And unfortunately, because of the advertising budgets of some of the big brands that can afford to just throw millions at advertising, that actually certain scenarios, there's a certain multi-room audio brand that I believe has become the new vacuum cleaner of the world.
Analogy, yeah.
And people would come up to us at like the home builder renovating shows and say, I want this brand in my home, and then actually you would say to them, no, you don't. It will work, but what you actually want is potentially this. And I think, from what we've seen here today with what you've got to offer, there's a lot of solutions in here, like, the sound bar or the center speaker behind us here, that actually just that and a TV together provides a solution that is potentially far better than something you could buy off a shelf and shove in the back of your own car. So first of all, because she's sitting there, let's introduce Mel. So just recently, Mel, you've joined Jamie. Gave her and added another female to the scenario. Watch yourself, Jamie. They'll take over. So your background, obviously, we knew you from another distributor. And you've been here now for 3 months?
Almost 4, yeah.
Yeah. So what brought you to CAVD? And you can't say Jamie.
Oh, I spoiled it. To be honest, I can't really answer that with a straight answer. So I'd been at my previous employment for 19 years, obviously.
Long time.
Being as young as I am, that was half of my life. So
you started there when you were 12?
No,
Oh.
no, not quite that young, but thanks. And Jamie was advertising a role, and I think there was lots of things leading me to believe that my time there was done. They taught me a huge amount, and I owe a lot of people there big thank yous, because without them I wouldn't be the salesperson I am, for sure. So but it just, a lot had changed, and I just felt maybe I wasn't the right fit anymore. So I saw Jamie's advert, and after a lot of procrastination, sent over a message to him just to find out more about it, really. And it became apparent quite quickly that actually what he was looking for was totally the opposite to what I could offer. So he wanted somebody local, which I am not.
You're definitely not.
He wanted somebody green in the industry,
Yeah.
which I am not. And he wanted somebody who was fairly technical and could run the showroom, which I am not. So
Must have been cheap then.
no, I am also not. So we almost walked away from it. But I came to Marlow, and Jamie and I sat down for, well, what should have been a brief chat. It was probably nearly 3 hours. Got on like a house on fire, and it just kind of went from there. I don't think there was ever anything formal, really. We just, like Jamie said earlier, I just kind of fell into it like he did, and it's been amazing. I haven't looked back.
I think the thing, I was listening to a podcast the other day. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were saying, this was more business, but they were saying the average business in the UK used to last about 50 years, and now it's about 15 years.
Wow.
And I think it's the same with people in the job. I mean, I don't think that there's very few people out there who have been in the job for sort of, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years, or stayed at the same company. And I think personally, I mean, I know I've diversified my business over the years. I know, like, if talk to like Mel and Giff at Bespoke, and obviously Owen at Cinema Works was here. I mean, for many years Owen was Connected Works, and then he decided that he loved cinema more, and he wanted to become a cinema. So I think that actually, as a human being, a change is good. You learn somewhere, you move on to somewhere else, you continue your knowledge, and unfortunately, Jamie, she'll probably move on to somewhere else at some point.
No, I hope not. So can I just add something at that point? So
she's under contract for life.
Well,
Yes.
look, you're free to come and go as you wish. But there's a saying, isn't there? I think Steve Jobs or something said, look, or was it, I don't know, Richard Branson or something. But treat people or train people and treat people like they could leave, but what's
Look
that?
after them
Look
when
after them
they
enough
don't.
so they don't. And for me, as soon as Mel described the kind of role I put out there to who I was kind of looking for, I was looking for Mel, and I didn't know that at the time, so since Mel's joined, it's been amazing. If I could split her in half and have two of her, we would do that. It's been great. So,
but you took on Richard instead.
We got Richard as well. I'll come back to him in a second.
She scared some people.
So Richard's just joined us this week. We'll come back to him in a second. But for me, I know this is a more general podcast, but I just like to make a point here for people who listen to this. But culture of a company for me is incredibly important, and that stems across from the people we represent, us, and hopefully who we sell to. But I can mainly control as much as a strong word, but I can have a strong influence over the culture of our company. And for me, it's incredibly important that people who work with CAVD have the right attitude in terms of level of support towards customers, etc. And that's been really key. The team we've got right now, and people have had before as well. I'm so happy with the direction of what we're doing and where we're going. And so yeah, just to sort of cut in on what Mel was originally saying, but no, the culture is incredibly important for me. And when we're going to expand again this year, it's what we're looking to do, and that's been facilitated by some of the brands we've signed more recently. Maybe we'll come on to those in a second, but it's allowed us to sort of move up. And I think the next person who joins us will be another salesperson, but again, as soon as I meet them, I'll know. Yeah. And it's a gut feel for me whether something will be right or not for our company. So yeah, just wanted to add that point in there.
I think we are a very people-led industry, and I think that in the same way as an integrator myself, I can say that I buy from people that I like and people that I know are going to offer my clients a service. So if I buy something from you, you're going to offer me a service, which obviously shows my client what we're going to get. But between like that pyramid, we're all buying from each other because we're all client focused and we're all friends, and industry professionals. So you obviously, the facility here, we've got this area here which is a sort of a media roomy area. Next to us, we've got the small cinema, and then off-site, we've got the bigger cinema we went to just a little bit earlier. And actually, we're not a million miles off of the M40,
We're
isn't
not.
it?
No,
No,
we're
'cause,
about 3 or 4 miles down
yeah,
from the.
so it's actually really easy. It's free parking. So you know, there's no London charges or anything like that.
No. We've got some great places to eat in Marlow.
And you took us out for lunch, which was lovely.
No, well, yeah, no, you're very welcome. But Marlow is a nice place to come to. We don't, when we say where we are, and lots of people are London based, of course. We've had someone come from Liverpool today, so he's fantastic that he came down.
On his way back.
He's only just left. By
the time they get this podcast,
yeah,
he'll
still
be
on his way back. When we say where we are, people go, "Oh, that's nice," you know, because Marlow is quite a nice place. It's here on the Thames, so people come from London, they come from further afield as well, and and geographically in terms of just driving here, it's quite like the M40, the M4, M25, so just up from the M3 as well. So it's a nice place to come to, and we do find generally that if we want to get integrators through for training, you know, time permitting and when they can allow it, we get them through. It's a nice enough facility where they feel they can bring their own clients to as well. And we never look, if you were to bring a client through to us and they said, look, you know, we're going to sell in this projector. They just want to come and hear your audio system. Yeah. We'll be perfectly fine with that. It's never shoehorning that we're going to send the whole thing. Look, if you want to wear us to wear one of your t-shirts, we'll do that, you know. And generally when end clients come through, I really enjoy it because it's because when an end client comes through, I'm not saying we get jaded as an industry, we don't, but we see so much stuff and you think, yeah, I like it, it's good, it's all that, that's good. But when you see the excitement of an end client coming through, and they haven't experienced what we did. It takes me back to something you said earlier on. And I thought I must get this in at some point because when you talk about some of the mass-produced brands, which are great, of course, you know, and they're exposed to some of those, that's almost like, a suit off the peg, you know? Mm-hmm. And what we can create as an industry, and we should be creating as an industry, being custom install being the word, is taking the time to really sit down with the client, understanding their needs, and find the products, and it could be ours, it could be someone else's. There's a lot of choice out there, a lot of good products, a lot of good companies. But making assessing what they need, giving them that detail, giving them that time, and making sure they give them a custom solution. Because you know there's so much of the big brand stuff out there, and getting back to what I was going to say really was when I see end client smile when they experience this for the first time, you know, the cinema we got through there. I mean, it could be just a Starlight scene they smile at, you know, but just they don't get to see this stuff. And I think, you know, one of the sort of things in our industry is that whether it's a extremely wealthy person or, you know, or whatever, they just don't get to see what we do and experience what we do. And when they do, they go, wow, I didn't even know this was possible. Because what we create are entertainment spaces that are very specific to them. If you go to a commercial theatre, we all have a good time. We enjoy watching the movies and going to the thing, but that's a system trying to cater for 100 plus people.
And there's people eating popcorn, sweets and rustling, which really annoys me.
And you can't pause it and use the loo or anything like that, you know?
You can't go and top your wine up halfway through.
Exactly that, you know? And we're creating entertainment spaces for families, extended families, where it's more for them. And I think it's there's something special about that. And when they use the spaces, I mean, you know, we can go on to say, you know, the spaces are evolving in how they're being used, of course, you know, and it's great when you think that people are, you know, using them for more general use, you know, and we're seeing cinemas become a bit more character to them, you know, and a bit more multi-use. We're thinking about how we're using them, what aspect screen we use for what kind of content we're using. You know, people just want to sit down and read in a cinema sometimes, or just rather than just watching a dedicated movie, which of course you can do. You can go in there and watch Netflix or Sky Sports or something. So yeah, it's really nice. I love it when an end user comes here with a dealer and I just see their face light up and go, I didn't know this is even possible. You know, it's amazing.
I think you're right. I think, you know, it's like, I mean, one reason the HCA, myself, we created International Home Cinema Day, which is something that I want to build over the years, is fundamentally to open up places like this to the end user, almost without the need of a distributor, an installer in it. Actually, just open it. So what I'd love it, and I've said it on a few other podcasts, is that I've been in this industry nearly 20 years, like you. I have access, and we all have access to some phenomenal rooms. I mean, your old company you used to work for had a phenomenal place up in Essex. You know, we've got a fantastic room down there. We've got a fantastic room here. You know, up until a few years ago, because I just haven't rebuilt it yet, I had my showroom. actually,
We can help you there.
yes, I know you will. Demo rate, baby. Is that what I want to do with International Home Cinema Day and International Home Theatre Day for our American friends? Is to actually have a website which a general public could go to, and on this one day, which I think is the 26th of October every year, every showroom, whether it be distributor or installer, just open their doors, and there's no precursors. You don't need £1 million in your bank account. You don't have to pull up in a Maybach. You just come in and sit in a home cinema, because we know how enjoyable these spaces are. And then, like you said, probably since COVID, we've started doing many more cinemas with, standard, 16:9 aspect ratio, because, the kids are playing Xbox. Owen's son loves his showroom because they go and play Mario Kart on the Switch. My wife and my daughter, during COVID, we were up at my showroom watching Strictly. But then we also sat there and watched Aladdin and Frozen, and then Frozen, and then Frozen. And I think that the spaces we have access to, I think we're privileged. And I think that I just want to get more people, which is why we created the HCA, International Home Cinema Day, and why we're doing the podcast, to say, look, these spaces are open. If you don't know who your dealer is that could bring you here, reach out.
Reach out to us directly. We won't sell to them directly, but we'll put you in touch with local people that can that we can help.
Where are you based? Yeah. Oh, I'm based in, I know, Oxford. Okay, well, look, we deal with blah 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 in Oxford. Get in touch with them. They can bring you along, and we can discuss it. So, talk about the brands you have here. Obviously, you started dealing with quite a big brand last year in Origin, which was a very nice. I mean, I got to admit, when I saw that on LinkedIn, there was part of me which was like, yeah, good. Although I had nothing against where it was before, it was quite a good brand for you as a person, as a company, to bring on board. So tell us a bit about the brands and the solutions that you can sell to the end client via a HCA member, a CDA member.
Sure. So a number of brands. I mean, can I say the website?
Yeah,
you can
publicise away.
You can check our website out at www.cavd.co.uk, and you'll see the brands there. It's 14 brands we represent. A couple of projector brands, start there. JVC's probably fairly well-known name. They do a range of dedicated theatre projectors. Digital Projection, that's a UK-based manufacturer. Brighter output projectors for bigger applications, maybe where you have a bit more ambient light, etc. So we have those two screen brands. I'll come back to this in a second. But you alluded to an audio brand we took on last year, which is Origin Acoustics. Yeah. And having worked in the industry for about 10 years up until that point, ironically, and I said this at the launch when we did it, they're 10 years old as well.
Oh, really?
So the synergy between our two companies was quite good.
Yeah.
And I think, as you say, it was with a previous company. I think the culture of our company, again, I've sort of used that word a bit, but I'm quite keen on that. It's very similar to what they do, in fact. I think their ethos and how they go to market suits us as a distributor as well. So I think there's some good synergy there between us in terms of how they go to market and what they do and what we do. So that was always a good thing. What it allowed us to do was, it was a brand that was well established. Maybe not to the man in the street, the woman in the street, but to our industry, it's well known. Origin Acoustics. They make architectural speakers, and they're moving into other areas as well. They've been doing garden audio speakers for quite some time. They've got some very cool stuff coming as well. So maybe I'll come back to that in a second. But we took that brand on last year. It raised our profile as a company, so we become, someone said, oh, I've heard of you guys. We like you. Now we've got, there's a reason, not that we didn't have a reason before. I mean, all the brands we have, I strongly believe in, we don't take anything on without sort of checking it out first. Snobby's probably too strong a word, but we like to believe in what we're selling, so there's, theory we've heard here today is incredible in terms of performance. Yeah. And I first saw that at Denver in, beg your pardon, San Diego at CEDIA about pre-COVID, So, and all of the brands we represent, I'm passionate about them all, whether it's our invisible speakers by Nikimatone, the GAT Architect, mirror TVs, they all have their place. But but Origin for us was certainly a lift up in terms of our awareness of us in the market. And so it was a good thing for us to get that brand. And I'm working with them hand in hand. Funny enough, we had the president over from Origin last week, and we did some dealer visits, and we had great fun. And he was he was a colourful chap, but also humble in how he went across and did things. And he listened to dealers. I mean, look, we are driven by what the market tells us to do in terms of what services, support, and products are needed. And there's certainly a company that see that, take that on board. And we like to make the install process. If you've seen their zip clip system, it's fairly unique. I mean, it's the tallest. That's not unique being tallest, but the way we can put 25 different products into one ring. It gives the integrator a lot of options as to how you can go about installing the product around the house.
I think for me, just touching on that briefly, like when we were talking about it earlier, for me, when we've done sort of smart homes, connected homes, clients obviously got a lot of money going out on a lot of projects, a lot of stuff in there. They've got to pay for the kitchen, and we all know the kitchen's not going to get kicked to one side, but we are. So I think what I like about the Origin stuff is that, if you are an end consumer or if you are an integrator, you can run the cable to the location, you cut the hole in the ceiling, you can put either the speaker housing with the dummy grill over it, or you can even just put a relatively affordable speaker in there. But then if it's if it's the third bedroom and they then have that as an office, the client can call the integrator back in. They can literally just click out the contractor speaker and maybe put in a higher brand, a better sounding speaker. Add an amp to it at the other end, and then now they've got a much better system that can go louder because they weren't using that room originally. I suppose for me, having that what was it, 222, wasn't it?
Yeah, 222.
Having
6 and 8 inch
having the
cutouts,
fact that all you've got to do. And obviously also we touched on earlier about the garden audio. And like the design service for the garden audio, because I think since COVID, people are looking at their homes going, okay, there was a brief while back there that I could not leave this space. So, I think we can all say that, garden audio has come a long way. Garden audio is not a set of speakers outside the kitchen patio doors that just blast 60 meters down the garden.
Portable boombox.
Yeah, exactly. You just carry it around. But it's actually an architectural speaker, but for the garden.
I think we're seeing, certainly since COVID, in the UK and other countries have got this better than we have previously, maybe because of the climate, but certainly since COVID here in the UK, I mean, garden audio has always been strong, but I see it now. An integrator will look at a house, and I think they'll see the garden as an extra zone, and if they're not, then perhaps there's an opportunity there. We're dining outside more, and that comes with lighting considerations. It comes with audio considerations, and the level of comfort you can create such just an ambience and feeling outside now. Doesn't have to be party. I mean, it can be a party, of course it can, but just low level music, to create that sort of atmosphere when you're outside. We're seeing that all the time now, and
I think there's a couple of there's a company close to me, Potters, who have created a stunning outdoor garden.
I've seen it online. I'd love to go and see it.
I mean, it's only like 20 minutes from where my office is.
Well, come and have a look.
Technically a competitor. But, even I've got to sit there and sort of take my hat off because, you can put a 5.1 system in your garden now. You can use systems out in your garden that, you could watch TV out there. You can get full on surround sound while having a barbecue and a beer. So I think that, again, if I touch back to the fact of what we do as an industry over what you could get on the high street or from a website, is that we could say to the client, okay, how do you live your life in your home? One of the first things I think you probably ask, and I ask my clients, is, so what do you watch? How many people are going to sit in the room? Very rarely is the first question, what's your budget? It's a question we've got to ask at some point because, there's no point giving someone £100,000 room or trying to sell them a Ferrari when all they're after is a Kia EV3. Nothing wrong with a Kia EV3, but, basically you've got to understand it. But it's like, okay, what are you going to watch? How are you going to use this space? Do you dine in the garden regularly? Because if they've got a whole house of multi-room audio and they've got nothing outside apart from your boombox or your portable speaker, they're really missing out.
I agree.
We already this year we've seen more outdoor audio quotes than ever before. And obviously we're still relatively early in the season. They are starting to come through, and I guess as well, cost of living now, a lot of people aren't going out. They are socializing at home. They're having friends over. They're having parties, like you say. They're eating. We've actually got a customer who's doing an exhibition with an outdoor kitchen company.
Yeah.
Who knew that was a thing? An actual dedicated outdoor kitchen company. Like, to me, that's just a barbecue. But that is all evolving. So we need to be a part of that. And now's the time, definitely.
Yeah, I think it is. I've got I've got a client who's just had a tiki hut when he built the house, and he's just had that replaced by like an oak building with removable windows, with heaters in there, not heaters in there, a little kitchen in there, because he said it's quite nice just to be outside in your own garden all year round. And we've put some speakers in there, and because the house is the home. And actually, if you want to get home from work and the kids to get home from school, and you can all go back to that whole, getting together as a family, sitting watching a movie, no mobile phones, no laptops, and you just experience. And then when you leave that room, you're talking as a family. I use with Immersive, we create fun family spaces. And for me, and I think for you guys as well, and a lot of people who will be watching this, is like when you create a room and the client is comes back to you and goes, "Oh, it's amazing! We're buzzing. We used it for this. We used it for that." There's nothing better. Yeah, there's money involved, and yes, there's profit involved, and yes, there's turnover involved because we're a business. But actually, when that client comes back to you and says, "Oh, it's fantastic," there's just a small part of you which is like, "Yeah," because I know how good these rooms are. And I know how, the series we're doing on what is a home cinema, and just sort of talking more about home cinema, is more about trying to get people to understand, what a true home cinema is. And it is a designed room that doesn't come in a box. That's a surround sound system. That's a sound bar. Nothing wrong with that. Simplicity is sometimes the key. But actually, some of the rooms that, we, together with you, spaces like that, they're just the next level. But they don't have to be, a massive. It's not like, again, going back to our car analogy, you're not pumping for the Ferrari, but all you can afford is a Kia. You can actually get a Kia price cinema, like you can get a Ferrari price cinema.
You can.
Yeah.
And everything in between.
Yeah. I won't reel off all the car brands. We'll be here a while.
No.
The ultimate thing is, though, is it still brings people together, right? And when that's in someone's home, like you just said, it brings a family together. It gives them time away from the daily life and how busy everybody is and how hectic they are. And I think it's being a part of that, isn't it? Knowing that you're giving that back to families is actually really lovely. And sometimes we've had conversations, things go on in life and you sit and you think, I just sell boxes of kit and it's not actually valuable. I'm not out there fighting fires or saving people's lives. And it's like, oh, does that feel, the amount of money that passes hands, it sometimes just feels a bit awkward, doesn't it? But when you put it like that and you go, do you know what, we are creating spaces and experiences for people and allowing families and friends to come together, that's actually really special. So more for you, because you get to see that, I guess, more than what we do, which is why you were saying about seeing end users here. So,
but I would say, I just add to that, there is, I totally agree, but there's a level of engineering expertise that we have as an industry that has a value. And I don't think that's necessarily, I don't know, not say it's not appreciated, but we've all done this for a long time. We've learned how to do what we do. It wasn't overnight, and it's through experience, through training. Our industry is always evolving, so I think it's fair to say that we are, as an industry, experts in what we do. And there should be a value to that, of course. You're going to go and see a specialist in another field. You expect to get the best because they've trained to do that. So let's not forget the level of expertise that we offer as an industry as well, in terms of our skill set. And in terms of design elements and stuff like that. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I think when you say design, you're spot on. I mean, one thing I forgot to do with the first podcast me and Simon did, which was the topic was what is a home cinema, and what we were going to do at the end of it was ask ChatGPT or ask Gemini or ask, and actually I the other day I remembered and I thought, I didn't do it, and I asked ChatGPT what's a home cinema, and actually got it really good. It got it pretty right, apart from the fact that it wasn't very broad. It was very bullet pointy. It mentioned a few things like, a sound bar in a cinema. Well, in my opinion, no. But yeah, the key word there, you said design. there is a reason we put speakers in a certain location. Hell, there's a reason why we sometimes don't put speakers in a certain location, because there might not be a rear wall.
Yeah,
I mean, I
real
had a
world
job like
compromise,
that.
of course. Yeah.
So I think that, as an integrator and as a distributor, we can look at a client's property. Yeah, we can look at their budget. We can look at how many people are going to sit in that room. And then we can say, okay, well, the best speaker, the best projector or TV that suits your room is this. And they need to go in this position to be angled at that degree for these seated positions. And the room is designed. You get a wedding dress designed. You get a kitchen designed. A car is designed.
Yeah.
So, I think it is very important that, between a HCA member, CAVD distribution and the client, we all sit in a circle or around a table and we go, right, what's the space? This is what suits it. This are the maybe 3 or 4 options that you could have at different budgets. What are you happy with, Mr. Client? And then hone it from there. So the reason the speaker is there behind you on the right-hand side is because that's where it's supposed to be, based on RP22 or Dolby standards.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you can value engineer things, of course you can. But if we can say, look, this, as you say, this is here for a reason. You want to cut the budget somewhere, fine. The drawback of that, or the knock-on effect of that, is X. But people can make the decision based on that. But I just want to make the point that design, and then obviously afterwards, what we sell does need setup and calibration. So it's not just a fit and forget, it's a fine tuning of what goes in afterwards just to get it right for that room. And that's not necessarily an easy thing to do. There's some auto EQ things we can use, etc., that give us tools. But, ultimately it's down to, what we think is right at the end, and normally comes with experience.
And servicing.
Yeah, true.
Just because it's in. I mean, it's cheesy, but our relationship with a client actually starts when the crew's been created, almost, because you are looking after that space for them. You are, we go back every year to our clients and we just do usually the beginning of the year, we just do a service, clean the filters on the projector, touch things that the client doesn't want to touch because they're afraid of breaking it, because it's important. And then obviously tell the client what's new, what technology is new, this JVC projector has been released, it's actually a good trade up and these are the benefits. And because, the space will run in, you touched on calibration, getting people in to calibrate both the video and audio,
sure, yeah.
And creating these spaces for people.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't stand still, does it? Like you say, you have to keep going back to these things, keep tweaking them. And I guess once people have got them in their homes as well, they start to hear things differently. So initially you put an end user in front of a system, it's all going to sound great because they're used to the high street. But once they've had their system for a while, they start to get their ear, don't they? What they do want and what they don't want. And they need you to go back and keep making those changes for them. So it's ever evolving.
I mean, we're doing a job at the moment, or we're in initial talks with a client at the moment, which I'll probably talk to you about, off camera, where I've just gone in there and designed a job for him based on the room. How many people are sitting in it? What's the size of the room? What are you watching, really? And then he's come back to me and said, okay, I'm probably going to want to spend about this. So now I've designed it for this. He then just came back to me 2 nights ago and said, what actually can I get for this? And all the way through this design, I'm designing it in respects of, right, put your money here because these are the elements you won't want to change, or because the speaker's behind fabric, it's going to be not impossible. So actually maybe put in a step down of the projector, because you go up to the step up, even the step up from that. So we would look to make the housing big enough to take maybe the top level JVC projector, for instance, even though we might be putting in the mid-range or slightly below, because, and actually, I always say the projector's like a TV. You could change it every year if you wanted to, and all you've got to do is take it out and put a new one in. But I think that, people spend a lot of money on these rooms, and as an installer, we look after these spaces. But also, we want that journey to create newer rooms, new experiences. And, and like we were out at ISC. So if anybody wants to go back and look at our phenomenal, well, actually, it wasn't me. It was Simon. I was the one behind the camera. we're at ISE, which is a massive show. We've touched on CEDIA Denver and San Diego, which is later in the year. We've got Essential Install coming up in September, which is a UK based one. And then we get to see, you show the products, we see the products, and and the end client doesn't necessarily see that. So I think what we're trying to say as a HCA is that do your homework, look at the products, watch YouTube and find out the products you like. But don't think that that's the only way. Reach out to someone. It's not going to cost you anything but time to reach out to a HCA member, to come along to somewhere like here and experience these type of rooms, and then walk away going, all right, I'll have one of those. Or I might not be able to afford it yet, but we're building the house, let's wire for it.
I'm aiming for, and it is all about coming and experiencing. And I think when you say, people come to you and they go, I've got X budget, you get them in front of a system and you tell them it's a little bit more. They always manage to find that little bit more because once they've experienced it, it sells itself. I mean, Theory, particularly over at ISE, we spent a lot of time with them, and I've said to customers since, I can't sell you this brand over the phone because I can't explain that to you. You need to come and sit in front of it. You need to hear it. You need to feel it, and it will just sell itself. So definitely getting end users to come and do that is so valuable. Like you say, it's a bit of time.
I mean, I couldn't, I'm not being made or paid to say this, but I obviously saw Theory at ISE, first time I'd ever really seen it, Integrated System Europe, if you don't know what ISE is. And actually then coming here today and then listening to this system in here, which is, what's this, 5.1.4?
1.1.2, but yeah.
Okay. Sitting in this space, it's like, okay, it sounds really good. And then going over around the corner to the bigger room and going, okay, I knew about this brand, but actually it is very much on my radar now. And, that only then gives me the knowledge to, not say I'm not going to sell brand A and I'm going to sell brand B, but actually go, well, okay, I know what this could do now. Like the speaker under the TV there, not the sound bar, the sound speaker. Isn't it someone like, I don't know what it is, speaker bar? I think it's what Bowers refer to it as, or one of the other manufacturers. They don't call it a soundbar because technically it's an LCR, left, centre, right.
It is.
Yeah. So it's a speaker
the
bar.
Generic term is a soundbar, and we use the term soundbar, of course we do,
But we go back to our vacuum cleaner, beginning with H brand earlier. People know a soundbar as being that thing underneath the TV. But they're generally not LCRs, left, centre, right. So this brand is very much on my radar. We hope to bring clients here. We hope other people bring other clients here. Other brands that you do or other solutions you do at CAVD?
So a couple of screen brands. Screen Excellence is a UK manufacturer, make acoustic transparent screens. We work with Stewart Film Screen. They're based in the States. They do lots of big stuff for Disney and things like that. They're a big, very well established American screen brand.
Stewart do a lot of masking screens, don't they?
Do masking, they do drop down and all sorts. Quite a range there. Their facility tour is very good as well. Actually, it's an incredible facility. I went there a couple of years ago, and they make their own fabrics. And it's in getting off topic here. Well, not topic, but going into a bit more detail. They have this room that's huge, and the way they make their fabrics is this machine sprays layers over this huge area, and they make one massive piece of material, then they cut it up. And that's how it's made. And they make their own fabric on site. Very few do that now. But it was a very impressive thing to see.
Similar to how TVs are made out of one big sheet of material, glass, what it was, and then it's cut in certain sizes, which what is why we got 65s, 55s, because it's what they could cut out. And I know,
that max out the space. Stewart's all bespoke, so you can have whatever size you want.
They do some big projects, don't they, Stuart?
They do. I mean, I saw a screen there that was hanging there, ready to go out. I can't tell you how big it was. I mean, huge. Nothing in it. No one to anyone at home. It's going to be for a theme park somewhere on a massive ride or something like that. And then we represent audio control. So electronics brand, amplifier brand, AVRs. And they've got some really cool stuff coming as well. So watch this space.
You're teasing us quite a bit.
Well, it's again, you've got to come and hear it and see it really. And it's too much to go into detail here in a specific product with what we're talking about now. But again, it's something we can talk about when you come here. They make a very cool little processor, 1U, like a 3.1 or 5.1 or 2.1 to go with a soundbar. you know, and that's a little rack mountable piece of 1U, or just for anyone who doesn't know what 1U means, very thin, and then you can put it behind a TV.
I was going to say that's what I quite liked about it, was the fact of that, you know, I know that because of, you know, I think because of social media, they've become quite popular, is the media wall.
Yeah.
And actually, you know, standing a TV off on a bracket does create a space behind it.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're using like an LG gallery or something like that, or Samsung frame, you haven't.
Yeah.
But quite often, if you're creating a media wall like we've got here, you standing the TV off. So then actually you could put that slimlined 5.1 or 3.1 behind it, and actually put a good, you know, 3-channel system with a subwoofer on the floor, and actually get a lot better audio than you would off of a, you know, a store-bought soundbar.
Absolutely, yeah. And they got some really cool stuff coming. They got bought out by a company called AB Pro Edge about 18 months ago, and they've had a huge investment of what they're doing in terms of, you know, development, etc., things like that. So more to come on that, and that'll be more specific to the integrators more than the end user, but it will end up in integrators home, in end client's home as well. Other brands, seating, acoustics, all those sorts of things.
These
really
beautiful ones here.
We're sitting on seating here.
I got to say, actually, the seating's lovely. I know Owen, one of the main reasons he came was to see the seating, and these ones, and then was it the Knightsbridge?
Yeah, the Knightsbridge.
They're awesome. I'm going to be having a word with my wife when I get home. Honey, if you're watching this, sorry.
It's all right. We'll happily sell you a couple.
Let's get rid of that sofa and put in these 2 seats. Forget about the daughter.
Actually, one of the easiest things to sell, because an end client can come here, get the fabrics out, sit in themselves, and they're not. We can sell them a system here as well, of course, and they can experience. They love it. But with a seating, they can actually make their own decision on the day. They choose their fabric, like the softness. It feels like they're in their control, you know. So I think selling seating is
and they could see it. I think I was having a conversation with a client the other day, and I could see where the conversation was going in respects of the clients going, not when's it going to be finished, but like, you're doing a lot of work and I'm not really seeing much finish. And I turned around to him and I said, honestly, I could give you 3 phone numbers of clients now who are in the exact same position as you were. In 2 days, this room will be completely fabric wrapped, and you'll go, hold on a second, you'll go on a business trip, and 3 days later you'll have a finished room. Because a lot of the work happens after the carpet goes down, and then we wrap the walls. And I suppose the good thing about seating is, you know, you can almost sit in here, see the seating, and it is a real product. It might not be in the color you're going to have, but you can go, well, this is the fabric, or that's the fabric. And you know, these seats are brilliant. I mean, they're so comfortable. They're firm. But, you know, that's actually quite nice. They're reclinable.
You can change the firmness.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got different pads we can bring out that said, well, you'd like a softer seat, then we can make it with that as well. So I
can chill my Evian.
You can chill your Evian.
Don't drink anymore. So it's my bottle of Omni iced tea.
Yeah.
Almond minstrels. The seats that you guys have got, they're not crazy priced. They're in line with, you know, majority of other sort of seating, and really good, quick turnaround as well. Quickish,
8 to 10 weeks.
Which is brilliant.
Custom-made seating is pretty good. I say one of the sort of wow factors when people come here, much as they love the cinema and all the sound and the seating, it's actually what we call like our invisible zone over there. So we've got a mirror TV there and a pair of invisible speakers either side. And when people come in, just my friends come in or something like that, and they see what we do, and they go, oh, I love the cinema. I mean, when you turn that on, they go, oh my God. Where is this sound coming from? The fact that it's invisible sound, and is that a TV? That still is probably one that like oh my God, didn't know you could even do that sort of thing, you know?
That was me when I came and Jamie took me round and gave me the demo. Mirror TV I've seen before because I used to sell mirror TV previously, but I've never heard an invisible speaker all these years, nearly 20 years, and I've never heard an invisible speaker. And even I was wowed by it, you know, with the amount of stuff that I see and hear. So I think just to your average, you know, end user who doesn't experience what we experience, that's out of this world, right?
I mean, we did a job in Kent, in Faversham, a few years ago, and that was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That was 7.2.4, 77-inch LG TV connected to Kaleidoscope, an Apple TV, and a BT Vision box. But the client was like, he loved it because his friends would walk in there and he'd be like, do you like my lounge? And these friends would be like, yeah, it's really nice. Just take a seat. Do you want to watch something? And the friends would be like, oh, okay then. And then he'd put on, like, you know, some Bob Dylan, or he'd put on some Green Day or something like that. And they'd be like,
They're immersed.
what the
in it.
hell?
Yeah.
And he'd be like, yeah, there's 7 speakers around you, 4 in the ceiling and 2 subwoofers. But you looked at the photos are on our Instagram page, instagram.com/immersive cinema rooms.
Very nice.
But you look at it and you just look, you think it's a lounge, which is really hard to sell. So you have to always flip back on my iPhone, on my iPad to say, this is what it was. And then new customers go, oh, okay, so they're plastered in or plastered up to. I'm like, yeah.
And the technology for those invisible speakers has come on so much the last few years. Look, if you're going to sit down and listen to a 20-gram pair of 2-channel speakers, they're not that, but they are incredible. The clarity and detail that we can get from them now.
And as
it's
you
amazing.
say, in some spaces like a cinema, we hide speakers in a cinema. I know usually behind fabric, but in a cinema you could go crazy. In there, one of our members, Cyber Homes, did a cinema which all the acoustic treatment was on show. And I remember speaking to them and saying, why did you do it like that? And it's because the client wanted it like that. But actually, around the home, people want the focus point to be, the furniture, the kitchen.
Yeah.
The kitchen
the
diners are
fireplace.
another classic space, aren't they? Lots of people now, because they are spending more time cooking at home and enjoying being at home. I think having invisible speakers and being able to create that atmosphere, but without the visual of that stuff hanging on the wall or from the ceiling, is really special, and it creates a really nice space. So again, I think it's another market that, although it's been around for a long time, there's still so much scope. That and outdoor audio, so much scope.
And I think that especially the invisible speaker, I think that is one brand that quite a lot of end consumers probably don't realize is a thing.
Yeah.
Because
there isn't a consumer version
there isn't
of it.
there's not. I mean, okay, you
no
might walk
equivalent.
into somewhere like maybe Seven Oaks or Richer and be able to be told about it.
Yeah.
But you certainly wouldn't walk into a website or to one of the high street, business centre park places and see it, because it's not something you can install yourself.
Yes.
So I mean that is brilliant. So anything else you want to touch on?
That covers most things.
Yeah.
I didn't get to mention, and she's the unsung hero from our company, which is Nadine. So she's here as well.
She's locked in the office.
No, but she's keen.
She's been told not to come out until they hear her stop talking.
So she'll be giggling in a minute. I can hear her, but a very important member of the team, and I want to make sure that she's acknowledged with that. So she's been with us about, I think it's 4 years now. So. Yeah. Brilliant. And then, we said Richard joined us this week. So Richard Wilson,
another person that's quite known in our industry.
Yeah, all the good reasons.
All the good reasons. Yeah.
Great guy. He's already got a wealth of knowledge, but he's already sucking up so much of what we do. Knowing I've been very impressed what he's done the last couple of days. Yeah. I sort of threw something the other day, and I'm thinking he won't know that yet, and he's already read about it and understands it. So he's going to be a great resource for us. Just wanted to acknowledge those two people as well. So look, we're here to help anybody that wants to create a space. Anything we can do to help, we're more than happy to. Whether it's design services. I mean, our manufacturer from Origin if you want to do a garden, they'll give you a design with a heat map on it, so you can show what works. So that's probably what I would summarize with. But other than that, no, nothing else from me.
Future? Have you got any plans for the distribution? Obviously, you can't tell me if you're taking on any brands, but have you got an idea? You said you're going to stay in this facility for a while.
Stay here for a bit longer. What we haven't.
One day I'll get you to take me to Tom Kerridge's, but I might have to spend some stuff soon.
Do you know what? Tom Kerridge's got 3 restaurants here.
Oh, it's all right. I can spend 3 days up here.
Well, one of them.
I'll come Monday and go back Friday.
One of them is just called the Butcher's Tap, which you can just walk in and have a burger.
Yeah.
Which is very accessible. You can't book there.
Yeah.
The other one's called the Coach, I think. Yeah. I've been there once or twice, and you can't book that one either. Yeah. So you have to just walk in. It's like a converted pub. It's like English tapas food. So it's English food, but tapas side portions. The other one is called the Hand and Flowers.
That's it. That's the fave.
I've eaten there once.
Yeah.
There's a long queue to get in. I don't mean like you can't walk in on the day. I mean, but there's a long waiting list to try and get in. Ate there once. Yeah, very nice, of course. But. So Marlow's a nice place to come to. So please come on.
So if you're watching this video and you want some Origin acoustics or some theory, please contact me so I can buy some speakers so Jamie
I'm
can take
borrowing-
me out for dinner.
Hey, look.
And then Mel will tag along as
Hang on,
well.
No, can you buy them through me so
Yeah.
that Jamie then takes both of us out for dinner?
Okay. Yeah,
Is that all right?
Hey, look.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
I've
take
got you. I think I've got your mobile. I don't think I've got Jamie's yet.
You've got
Yeah.
both my mobile numbers.
we look.
Both your mobile
Look.
numbers.
Already, we'll take you to the butcher's tap. All right.
Oh, okay.
We'll take you for a burger, no problem. I'll even take you to the coach. Trying to get into the Hand and Flower is going to be very difficult.
That's all right. I've been here 20 years. I could be around for a few more. Well, look, thanks guys. Thanks for sitting down and having a conversation.
Thank you.
If you are an integrator and you want to reach out, it's cavd.co.uk. If you're an end consumer watching this and you want to experience an Origin or Theory, or you want invisible speakers,
Sit on the seat.
sit on the seats, go to the homecinemalliance.co.uk, look on the dealer locator and find your local dealer. Or if for any reason there isn't a local dealer near here, on there near you, reach out to these guys and they can put you in touch with
Partner you
someone.
up with someone, definitely. Yeah, we're here to help.
Awesome. Thank
Nice
you
one.
for your time.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
guys. Thanks a lot.
Cheers. Thank you.